Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We are in the Gospel Luke chapter 6, verses 27 through 38. And this begins with Jesus saying that we are to love our enemies and to do good to those who hate us. And we might be able to restrain ourselves from wiping out our enemies, maybe even from getting revenge on our enemies, but to love them, what's the whole point of having an enemy if you're going to go around and loving them, right? And what does this love look like to those who you want to do harm, right? And then Jesus makes it even worse. He says, you're to pray and bless them, you're to turn the other cheek, you're to give them your coat. He just keeps turning up the volume on this. And then he says what credit is to you. If you love those who love you, if you do good to those who do good, you lend to those who are going to pay you back. Well, even sinners do this. And that's the whole point, is that this is not about what we can do on our own. What does trying to do good look like? And it's never enough. And I want you to think about everything that Jesus is telling us to do, demanding us to do, is exactly what Jesus does. Everything he has come into the world to accomplish is for the sake of those who are his enemies, those who do hate him. Everything that Jesus has come to do on the cross is for those who revile him and who strike them. Everything that Jesus does in the cross is for those who seek to take everything he offers and leaving him humiliated and filled with pain and sin and rejection. He's a blasphemer, right? All of that on the cross. And yet, this hateful enemy of Christ doesn't stop Jesus from doing what he came to earth to do. He blesses those who curse him, right? And who abuse him. He gives the riches of heaven to those who would take it away from him. He does good to those who do evil and who sin. He loves those who hate him because he came to earth to save sinners. And so he goes on to say, that we are we are to be merciful, just as our Father in heaven is merciful. And God's mercy is unlimited, and we really can't measure up. Goes on to talk about not judging, and the world expects us, which is so funny, is that the world expects us to be forgiving and loving, and yet the world hates us. But we damage our witness when we are not forgiving. And then he says, that, for the measure you use will be measured out to you. And so what measure are we using for our life as Christians? And this really is so critical to the life of the church. Do we measure our faith? Do we measure our life in the church by the kingdom of the world, by the aspirations of the world? Or do we measure our life as Christians by the kingdom of God? How do we measure ourselves as Christians? It really should be by the cross. And the same holds for how we see others. We should measure them by the cross. Well, thanks, friends. Have a blessed day.